The Elves and the Shoemaker by Brothers Grimm. There once was a shoemaker who worked very hard and was very honest, but still he could not earn enough to live upon, and at last all he had in the world was gone, save just leather enough to make one pair of shoes. He cut the leather out, all ready to make up the next day, meaning to rise early in the morning to his work. His conscience was clear, and his heart lied to mist all his troubles. So he went peacefully to bed, left all his cares to heaven, and soon fell asleep. In the morning, after he'd said his prayers and had breakfast, he sat himself down to his work, when to his great surprise there stood the shoes already made up on the table. The good man knew what to say or think at such odd thing happening. He looked at the workmanship. There was not one false stitch in the whole job. All was so neat and true that it was truly quite a masterpiece. Later that day, a customer came in, and the shoes suited him so well that he willingly paid a price higher than usual for them. And the poor shoemaker with the money bought leather enough to make 2 pairs more. In the evening he cut out the work and went to bed early, that he might get up and begin early the following day. But he was saved all the trouble, for when he got up in the morning the work was done ready to his hand. Soon in came buyers who paid him handsomely for his goods, so that he bought leather enough for 4 pairs more. He cut out the work again overnight and found it done in the morning, as before, and so it went on for some time. What was got ready in the evening was always done by daybreak, and the good man soon became thriving and well off again. One evening around Christmas time, as he and his wife were sitting over the fire chatting together, he said to her, "I should like to sit up and watch tonight, that we may see who it is that comes and does my work for me." The wife liked the thought, so they left the light burning and hid themselves in the corner of the room, behind a curtain that was hung up there, and watched what would happen. As soon as it was midnight, there came in 2 little naked elves, and they sat themselves upon the shoemaker's bench, taking up all the work that was cut out, and began to ply their little fingers, stitching and rapping and tapping away at such a rate that the shoemaker was all wonder and could not take his eyes off them. And on they went until the job was done, and the shoes stood ready for use upon the table. This was long before daybreak, and they bustled away as quickly as lightning. The next day the wife said to the shoemaker, "These little elves have made us rich, and we ought to be thankful to them, and do them a good turn if we can. I'm quite sorry to see them run about as they do, and indeed it is not very decent, for they have nothing upon their backs to keep off the cold. I'll tell you what, I will make each of them a shirt and a coat and a waistcoat and a pair of pantaloons into the bargain, and do you make each of them a little pair of shoes." The thought pleased the good cobbler very much, and one evening when all the things were ready, they laid them on the table instead of the work that they used to cut out, and they went and hid themselves to watch what the little elves would do. Around about midnight in they came, dancing and skipping, hopping around the room, and then went to sit down to their work as usual. But when they saw the clothes lying for them, they laughed and chuckled and seemed mightily delighted. Then they dressed themselves in the twinkling of an eye, and danced and capered and sprang about as merrily as could be, till the last they danced out the door and away over the green. The good couple saw them no more, but everything went well from them from that time forward, as long as they lived. The end.